All right, quickly shifting our attention to another bit of breaking news update coming in. This is a big setback to Puja Khedkar. The High Court coming up with some scathing observations. Remember, the court was set to deliver its judgment regarding the anticipatory bail plea of former IS officer Puja Khedkar, who's facing criminal charges filed by Delhi police, which is accused her of cheating and unlawfully claiming OBC and disability quota benefits in civil services examination. And now we're learning that the Delhi High Court has spoken of how she was unfit to avail the benefit which was for the disabled. It's a classic example of fraud with not only a constitutional body but also with the entire society and the nation as whole, says the High Court. So big observations being made by the Delhi High Court there. Also calling it a large conspiracy. I want to go across to Ananya Bhatnagar joining us with more details. Some scathing commentary coming in from the High Court. Tell us more, Ananya.
Well, definitely, it's a scathing observation coming in from the Delhi High Court by denying any kind of a relief to IS, trainee Puja Khedkar, and it has been stated by the High Court that, she was not eligible for this undue benefit that she had enjoyed. Not only that, there were, ample amount of luxury cars that were being used by her, and that is something that was a collusion with high-profile people, is what, in fact, the High Court has gone on to say. So, very big, judgment coming in from the Delhi High Court. No relief coming in for Puja Khedkar, and definitely troubles are mounting because the arrest could be made anytime soon, because there is no kind of a protection that now exists for Puja Khedkar in this particular case. Not only that, the Delhi High Court completely going on to say that this is not only a fraud with a constitutional body, but is a conspiracy and a fraud against the society and the nation as a whole. So very clearly, the Delhi High Court completely going into the conduct of Puja Khedkar and how she and her family members have colluded, in fact, to dupe the whole examination process, one of the most prestigious examinations in the country, that of the Union Public Service Commission, which selects the best bureaucrats in the country. And now such a thing is happening is something that is troublesome, and that's exactly what the High Court has also gone on to note in its observations, and very clearly denying any kind of relief that comes in for Puja Khedkar in this particular case. So definitely we might see some action coming in the next few days. We might see that there might be an arrest that could be made in this particular regard for Puja Khedkar, because now there is no kind of a protection, that Puja Khedkar enjoys, and the Delhi High Court making such scathing comments, calling it a fraud, and not only a fraud, but also a big criminal conspiracy hatched by Puja Khedkar and her family members who were in touch with high officials, is what, in fact, the Delhi High Court's single judge bench of Justice Chandra Singh has gone on to say. So very clearly, a big setback coming in for the IAS trainee probationary whose candidature was cancelled by, in fact, the Union Public Service Commission. And now very clearly and categorically, troubles are definitely mounting. We might see some action coming in from the police authorities as well.
Oh yes, and even though Puja Khedkar through her advocate Ananya has spoken of how she is willing to cooperate, a custodial interrogation is not the need of the hour, so on and so forth. But the observations made by the High Court make it amply clear that that's not going to be enough. Not only has she ended up cheating the entire system, but the entire nation, and how her parents, family members colluded with high-powered people.
Well, definitely, that is a very clear observation coming in from the Delhi High Court, wherein the High Court has gone on to say that, her family members have colluded with high-ranking people, and those who are not still in public knowledge, who have, in fact, been part and parcel to this conspiracy, wherein, undue benefits were given to Puja Khedkar. Not only those undue attempts that she had got, posing as a disabled candidate, but also the kind of luxury cars and the other amenities that was being used by Puja Khedkar in that probationary period, and that is something that raised suspicion for the Union Public Service Commission. And now finally a single judge bench of the Delhi High Court completely giving in and saying that this was a large conspiracy, not only against a constitutional authority like the Union Public Service Commission, but also a conspiracy against the whole society, and a fraud committed on the whole society as a whole, and not only the whole society but also the complete nation itself. So very clearly we might see the police authorities now kicking in, and now we might see that Puja Khedkar could be arrested because there is no kind of a protection that Puja Khedkar now enjoys. Because remember, when the matter had come up before the Delhi High Court in the first place, there were in fact, an interim protection that was granted to Puja Khedkar in this particular case, but now that too stands to be turned down by the Delhi High Court, and very clearly, now Puja Khedkar is somebody who is in trouble. Whether she would be approaching the Delhi High Court, challenging this particular order before the Supreme Court, challenging this Delhi High Court order before the Supreme Court or not, is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
Oh yes, absolutely. The Delhi police opposing the anticipatory bail plea, informing the Delhi High Court as the investigation progresses. There's a larger conspiracy that perhaps needs to be looked at. Yasha Kotak joins us with more details. Stay on with us, Ananya. Yasha, what does this mean then going forward for Puja Khedkar, given the scathing observations made by the Delhi High Court and how the Delhi police has been unrelenting in its attack, demanding a custodial interrogation of Puja Khedkar? What next for her?
So, absolutely. In fact, this very case which had come up before Delhi High Court, now, there were several allegations to level against Puja Khedkar, and particularly, in fact, when she was expected to report at Dehradun, she'd gone missing. So, as of now, of course, when we also reached out to her residents at Pune, her whereabouts were unknown. Now, what's important to also note in this context is that, considering that this were anticipatory bail plea was filed at the Delhi High Court, ever since then, Puja Khedkar as well as her family members, none of them had in fact come out and spoken about this. Though, of course, her service at Maharashtra had was kept on hold, and which she was expected to be with the UPSC. But now that this anticipatory bail plea has been cancelled, Delhi police will also be approaching the authorities at Maharashtra and also the other police agencies to understand where exactly is Puja Khedkar. The fact that her anticipatory bail plea was pending at Delhi High Court was where the whole issue was at a standstill. So, which is where what's also important to note now is that only once is where the whereabouts of Puja Khedkar are found is where further course of action could be undertaken, and also now the cops will also have to understand where Puja Khedkar is. So all of this will be crucial to understand and build build the further proceedings and the investigation in this case. But apart from that, now
and hasn't
like
that ended up being
mentioned,
solid evidence in possession of the Delhi police, Yasha? The fact that the UPSC has said that Puja Khedkar has committed perjury by filing a false affidavit, that it has held that Puja Khedkar has in fact tried to manipulate the entire judiciary system. All of that has ended up being hard-hitting proof against Khedkar in the court as well.
absolutely. In fact, when you speak of Kate, now there's a fact that she used the eligibility certificate, or for that matter, even a caste certificate, is something that was under the radar for quite some time. Of course, it was something that came out full blown when all of this was produced before the judiciary. And when you speak of these allegations that were against Puja Khedkar, what's also important to note is that the fact that Puja Khedkar had these severe allegations against her, it was brought out to the notice of people only after the allegations were raised by several activists in Pune. All of this were presented time and again before several officials. But apart from that, now when this matter was full blown out in public after her transfer from Pune, the fact that even there have been several IAS officers who've gone ahead and spoken against Puja Khedkar, against the kind of treatment she expected and demands that she made, was in fact out and put forward before the judiciary, and that is what has led to this kind of a strong stringent action being taken against Khedkar. But apart from that, there are allegations against her family members, against the misuse of power, the misuse of her position and the position of her father. All of this is out full blown, and which is where there was a demand that strict action should be taken against her. But amidst all of this, of course, the fact that this matter was brought before the Delhi High Court, assuming that she was, she had that kind of a relief for her for quite some time. So all of this had become had come out as a strong, had come out as a way for Puja Khedkar to be away from the limelight, and so was the case with her family members as well. But now that transfer bail plea has been rejected, what will be important is for Delhi police to find out her whereabouts and get her to task. Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely. The Delhi High Court hearing the anticipatory bail of Puja Khedkar. Ananya continues to stay on with us as well. Yasha, coming back to you in just a bit. Ananya, what next in terms of how this could mean more trouble for Puja Khedkar, given the tone and tenor that's coming in from the Delhi High Court? Looks in no mood to give outright relief to her.
Well, definitely, this was a judgment pronounced by Justice Chandra Dhari Singh denying any kind of either interim relief or the final relief was already denied